Selecting an insurance provider for your business is a big decision.
We know how important your company is to the community.
Alford & Associates can manage your insurance. It's our job.
Alford & Associates, benefiting your employees and protecting your business.
Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Louisiana and Beyond.
And in this very special episode, we feature highlights of Martin's recent interview with the Commander and District Engineer for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in New Orleans, Colonel Scotty Autin.
A native of Houma and a graduate of the U.S. Military Academy and Columbia University, he has built a long and very distinguished career in the U.S. Army with assignments all over the globe.
And the Colonel will talk about his Houma memories, his family, his Army career, and the importance of protecting our coast in this enlightening interview.
It's an episode you do not want to miss on Louisiana and Beyond.
Louisiana and Beyond is brought to you in part by Edison Schwest Offshore, Bollinger Shipyards, Crosby Tugs LLC, Grand Isle Shipyard, Nichols State University, and Sea Level Construction.
Welcome to Bollinger Shipyards. For nearly a century, our family of skilled shipbuilders has driven innovation and excellence, creating some of the world's most advanced vessels. Today, we are at the forefront of our industry and redefining the future of naval warfare. At Bollinger, we turn challenges into opportunities and careers into legacies. Here, you're part of something bigger. Any yard can build a ship. We don't just build ships. Together, we're building the future.
Edison Schwest Offshore is more than a fleet. We're an interconnected network of vessels, logistics hubs, and a fast-growing workforce of over 19,000 dedicated professionals across the globe. From the United States to Brazil and the Middle East to Southeast Asia, Schwest provides cutting-edge solutions to a worldwide community. And in the face of evolving demands across the industry, we are committed to operating as the best in the world.
In a world where you can choose to be anything, who do you choose to be? At Nichols State University, with over 70 distinct degree programs, we believe our students can be anything. Be an artist, a chef, a journalist, an educator, a lifesaver. But no matter what you choose to be a colonel. Be more at Nichols State University.
When it comes to marine towing, Crosby Tugs has over 40 years of experience. We have the know-how to safely assist ships into and out of their berths, escort oil tankers quickly and safely, tow ships, respond to fuel spills, and work in extreme conditions. Founded in 1977 by Vinton and Kurt Crosby, we are one of the largest privately owned marine transportation businesses in the industry. If it's on the water, let Crosby be your transporter.
At GIS, putting people first has always been our thing. As we always say, our people are our most important assets. With over 20 office locations, we deliver innovative solutions across 4 key markets: energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. Our 4 main service groups house over 20 service capabilities, supporting projects from start to finish. We're proud of our legacy and even more excited about what's ahead.
And welcome back to Louisiana Beyond as we feature highlights of Martin's recent interview with Colonel Scotty Autin.
And we begin with the Colonel's thoughts on the importance of being a Houma native and serving this area in such a significant role.
Being from here and being born in Houma, raised family here, this is a big job. it carries a lot of responsibility and a lot of weight. And so all of our commanders across the Corps of Engineers don't take that lightly, but there's just that little bit more, the little bit more of knowing that the decisions have direct impacts on my family, on my friends, on all of those that are close to me. And it doesn't take away from the rest of the country and what the Corps of Engineers is doing to accomplish the mission, but I carry a little bit more of that with me. It also, I think, gives a couple of ways where a little bit more drive, right? A little bit more get it done attitude. And I'll tell you, Martin, it's really great to see the partnerships. And I think, that's something that I was taught as a young kid is you got to build relationships with people. I mean, you go out, you go talk, you go get to know your family, your friends, you spend some time before you get to the business part of it. But when you get to the business, it's time to work. And I've seen that play out in this role a lot. I love the ability to build relationships with the state, with Chairman Dove, with Tony Alford, here in Houma, Jason Bazeron, Parish President, Angela Hidalgo, Executive Director for the Terrebonne Levee Conservation District, the David Rabelais, the Port Director, right? And if I have, and I try to replicate that across every parish in the state, right? Because if we wait till a time of crisis to build that relationship, it's too late. If you don't really try hard to get to know people and understand, have some empathy for what they're going through, then how could we really make well-informed decisions to supplement the state at the federal level? And so the Corps of Engineers has a really tough job. I mean, rightfully, it's a demanding job. And as a taxpayer, you expect a lot from us. You should. And so we have a pretty significant role in terms of maintaining navigability, of decreasing the flood risk throughout the area, and then protecting this environment, the ecosystem. And no other state in the United States do all three of those play together more so than South Louisiana.
Isn't it good, though, when you come back home and you see the amount of skin that we put into the game?
We're tired of talking about building the levees. We talked about, I've been on the bayous probably 22 years now, and I've seen the same houses over and over and over again that have been flooded. I told a story on TV the other night about a gentleman that I saw during Hurricane Andrew who was in water this high. He had tears coming down his eyes, and when we brought the cameras in front of him, he said, "I don't think I could do it again." The ironic part is during this storm and during Tropical Storm Bill, we saw the same gentleman on tape in water again, and he somehow got courage to go back and rebuild. But you got to wonder how many times he's going to have courage to do it. I had a lady that came in my office, Miss Marguerite Knight, and she put 2 brochures in front of me. Now, I've got over 1,500 emails in the last 2 days, and I have tried to read every one. But when she put this in front of me, I was wondering why she put it on my desk. I said, "Well, I've seen the land loss brochures." She said, "Well, read the date." On the back of it says 1983. We've been talking about the same problem for at least over 20 years since I've been doing broadcasts on HTV. Some of you in the audience have been talking about it for 40 or 50 years. So now it's time to get the levees built. But I got to say this about the public officials behind us. And I got to be polite because my mom and dad are listening, and I think they taught me to have dignity for elected officials. I don't think these people, these elected officials, wanted this to happen. They surely didn't want to be going through what they went through when it happened. The problem lies with the bureaucratic process.
Time for action. HTV originated in 2005 because we got flooded by Rita and Katrina. And we did a big rally. Governor Blanco came down and guaranteed $10 million. But everybody in this community has had some little part in making sure that it took place. But you come down, and I know the president sees it. Here is Terrebonne and Lafourche and St. Mary. And especially Terrebonne and Lafourche, they have put their own money into the equation. They've taxed themselves. They've spent money on their own. That's music to your ears, isn't it?
It definitely shows, we kind of say that skin in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It shows the commitment and the belief in what they're doing. And so there's a lot of need across all of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what keeps me up at night, aging infrastructure, right? We built a lot of things a long time ago, great facilities, but it's getting old. And so the requirement for federal dollars is greater than what we have on hand. And so when we can look for those opportunities to maximize and double down on something that's proven and going forward. Morganza to the Gulf, great example, what you talk about there, where locals believe in it, they tax themselves, and they know they can't wait. They don't have the time.
And coming up after the break, Martin continues his talk with the Colonel and his thoughts on growing up in Houma as part of the great big Autin family.
Stay with us right here on Louisiana and Beyond.
At GIS, putting people first has always been our thing. As we always say, our people are our most important assets. With over 20 office locations, we deliver innovative solutions across 4 key markets: energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. Our 4 main service groups house over 20 service capabilities, supporting projects from start to finish. We're proud of our legacy and even more excited about what's ahead.
When it comes to marine towing, Crosby Tugs has over 40 years of experience. We have the know-how to safely assist ships into and out of their berths, escort oil tankers quickly and safely, tow ships, respond to fuel spills, and work in extreme conditions. Founded in 1977 by Vinton and Kurt Crosby, we are one of the largest privately owned marine transportation businesses in the industry. If it's on the water, let Crosby be your transporter.
Welcome to Bollinger Shipyards. For nearly a century, our family of skilled shipbuilders has driven innovation and excellence, creating some of the world's most advanced vessels. Today, we are at the forefront of our industry and redefining the future of naval warfare. At Bollinger, we turn challenges into opportunities and careers into legacies. Here, you're part of something bigger. Any yard can build a ship. We don't just build ships. Together, we're building the future.
Edison Schwest Offshore is more than a fleet. We're an interconnected network of vessels, logistics hubs, and a fast-growing workforce of over 19,000 dedicated professionals across the globe. From the United States to Brazil and the Middle East to Southeast Asia, Schwest provides cutting-edge solutions to a worldwide community. And in the face of evolving demands across the industry, we are committed to operating as the best in the world.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities including driven piles, drill deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Welcome back. Colonel Scotty Autin is a Houma native who currently serves as Commander and District Engineer for the New Orleans District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
But before all of that, he was first a member of a prominent local family, the Autins.
Growing up as an Autin in Houma, big family gatherings, very type A personalities, businessmen, driven to get things done. I didn't really know my great-great-grandfather. That was, but the story, I knew him because the stories continue on to this day. And his son, Arnold, my grandfather, Richard, they were strong, stern, in a good way, individuals, and that carried through. And so you learn early on that you have love for family and you have love for your community. And your community includes the environment, the ecosystem, everything that gives you what you need here. I would say I'm probably and unfortunately a typical Houma story in the 80s and 90s. Kind of my generation, divorced parents, latchkey kids, both parents working. You're spending a lot of time at home on your own. You kind of spend time by yourself. And then the oil and gas turned down. So my father was oil and gas, and that hit really hard. And so both my mom and dad were working oil and gas at the time. Placid and some other companies that were big names that took a hit. So they had to go look for work in other states. And so as you think about the loss of talent and the loss of kids throughout that time, I was a product of that. But my family was here. My heart was always here. We always came back to Houma. My mom was from Dulac, way down there. I'd spend my summers down in Dulac. And so we always returned. Louisiana was always my home.
What was your mom's maiden name?
And so my mom is a Pellegrin.
Okay.
And then her, she is a product of a Domingue and a Pellegrin.
Okay.
And then I'm an Autin. My grandmother was an Eshte, right? And so I've got Gautier, I've got Liretz, I think if we sit down long enough, I could probably connect through family members across the Terrebonne region.
Yeah, you got it all. You got a good mixture, but the Bayou community, I mentioned the word passion. Very passionate, but some of the kindest people you'll find anywhere in the United States.
Yes, they'll give you the shirt off the back, and they had to work really hard to get that shirt, right? And I know that. I mean, the value of the dollar and the value of hard work is. I saw it in my grandparents. I mean, just working really, really hard to provide for your family and take care of what you have, which includes South Louisiana, includes what this great state is.
Now serving in such an important military, civic, and engineering role, you wonder what motivated Colonel Autin to seek military life.
It turned out that at least initially, young Scotty Autin's dreams were far from the military academy at West Point.
I was a pretty low-key kid.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time with my friends or by ourselves, and so we'd get in little trouble, but nothing too big. I mean, the Autin kids, they were always in trouble. So my parents and my dad and the brothers, they were known for troublemaking, and so I think my dad knew that. So he was pretty. We had pretty good discipline, just on understanding, right and wrong, and abiding by a set of rules. Just like I think every parent tries to place for their kid. I really started looking at the military in high school. I was kind of struggling on what excited me. I got involved in junior ROTC in high school, and it was really where I found my group of friends. I liked the structure. I liked what I was learning. It was this idea of becoming a better American, and that really resonated with me. I looked at a lot of the military. I applied. I had a cousin, Eric Gautier. He's from down there. He was at West Point, and so I was like, that sounds interesting. I wonder what that is. And so connected with him. He was telling me about it, and I applied to all the academies. It was just something I wanted to get out of the house, and I wanted to go live on my own. I wanted to be in the world, but I never wanted to be a burden on my parents. And I liked the idea that the military offered me a way out of that, and then I could fund it myself effectively through my service. And so I was living in Alabama at the time. That was where we ended up. I was going to high school there.
When did y'all leave? What year?
So we left in the early 90s. It was probably around 92, 93.
And you were what at Terrebonne? When did you leave Terrebonne?
So we ended up, I finished middle school.
Okay.
Middle of middle school. So I ended up going to 8th grade in high school in Alabama. Okay. My dad, my whole family was South Terrebonne. They all went to South Terrebonne. And so a lot of my family in that area we lived, we were all in the South Terrebonne region. And so I looked at West Point, and I was fortunate to be accepted into the United States Military Academy. I started that, my freshman year was 1998. And I tell you, I probably wasn't as prepared as I should have been. I was, you kind of realize you were more of a loafer than you realize when you get in those rigorous environments. But Academy was exceptional at putting you, giving you the boundaries of how to operate, and it was something I was used to. I like that. I like the ability to know, how to function, what to need to do to succeed. And so I graduated from there in 2002, commissioned as an engineer officer, and kind of started my journey in the Army around the world.
And coming up after the break, Colonel Autin will elaborate on that last statement and how many times he's moved and where.
And we will also learn about meeting his future wife and where each of his 3 children were born.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities including driven piles, drill deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Edison Schwest Offshore is more than a fleet. We're an interconnected network of vessels, logistics hubs, and a fast-growing workforce of over 19,000 dedicated professionals across the globe. From the United States to Brazil and the Middle East to Southeast Asia, Schwest provides cutting-edge solutions to a worldwide community. And in the face of evolving demands across the industry, we are committed to operating as the best in the world.
When it comes to marine towing, Crosby Tugs has over 40 years of experience. We have the know-how to safely assist ships into and out of their berths, escort oil tankers quickly and safely, tow ships, respond to fuel spills, and work in extreme conditions. Founded in 1977 by Vinton and Kurt Crosby, we are one of the largest privately owned marine transportation businesses in the industry. If it's on the water, let Crosby be your transporter.
At GIS, putting people first has always been our thing. As we always say, our people are our most important assets. With over 20 office locations, we deliver innovative solutions across 4 key markets: energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. Our 4 main service groups house over 20 service capabilities, supporting projects from start to finish. We're proud of our legacy and even more excited about what's ahead.
Welcome to Bollinger Shipyards. For nearly a century, our family of skilled shipbuilders has driven innovation and excellence, creating some of the world's most advanced vessels. Today, we are at the forefront of our industry and redefining the future of naval warfare. At Bollinger, we turn challenges into opportunities and careers into legacies. Here, you're part of something bigger. Any yard can build a ship. We don't just build ships. Together, we're building the future.
Thanks for joining us for Martin's interview with Houma native Colonel Scotty Autin.
And now he tells me how and where he met his future wife.
As soon as I graduated, we went to our basic course in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and that was where I met my future wife. She was my classmate at West Point. I saw her, but I didn't really know her while I was there, and so she did great. She graduated near the top of our class, and I graduated on the other end of the spectrum. So we balance each other out. So her name is Barbara. So we met there, as I said, Fort Leonard Wood. Probably, I guess you could say it's the most romantic of all Army posts, right? You don't expect to find that person, or you find them when you're least expecting it. So we were there together. Really kind of started dating, hit it off, and she was going to Germany. That was her assignment, and I was supposed to head to Fort Hood, Texas, and so we kind of made a decision that we're gonna take a chance at this after dating. So we after about a year of dating, we got married. My wife's a military brat, so she's lived all over the world.
Okay.
Her dad, she's got a great lineage of military. She was in the military. Her dad was in the Army. Her grandfather was a 1950 grad of West Point, served in the Army. All of them career officers. She ended up going to high school in Virginia.
What does she say when she comes to home? Does she say, y'all are crazy?
Yeah. I think maybe at first, but you know, it's like anything. You really spend some time with the family, and she grew up in a really small family, really, really small. And so I can only imagine how overwhelming it was to show up at an Autin family gathering with 50, 60 people. It was a lot, and they're all very dominating and domineering in a loving way. She's grown to absolutely love the region. She loves the community. That's something that, you know, as we moved around the military a lot, some places we get it and some places we don't. In Louisiana, it's just built around community. And there's something as you get older, you just learn to really appreciate that.
What about children? How many children?
We have 3 kids, and they're doing great. You know, they've, my wife and I, this is our 15th move. We've lived all over the country, all over the world. And so our kids, our oldest is 16. He was born in Hawaii. My middle girl, she's 14. She's born in New York State. And then my youngest, he's 11. He was born in Italy. So they're all cosmopolitan. They all like that they were born all over, and they, you know, they're resilient. They're glad to be in Louisiana. They're glad to be in New Orleans. They're glad to be kind of settled and building their core group of friends, and then looking at what's next.
When you get a chance to teach them, or you're driving through the tunnel, or you're going down U.S. Highway 90, do you ever say, hey, kids, let me tell you the family involvement in this?
Yeah, all the time. They probably might roll their eyes a little bit, because I remember getting that as a kid. I mean, that was how I was taught our family history, was when you look at the physical structures. And so Gibson Autin, he was a huge community civic action leader, and he really saw the importance of infrastructure. As we talked about Houma Nav Canal, and then, you know, he worked really hard to pave Highway 90 down to Houma. He spent a lot of action working with the police jury on that, because it was the connectivity. That was the internet of the time, the waterways, the roadways. And so he understood that, you know, if business was really going to grow and take root and take off in Houma, it had to be connected to New Orleans. It had to be connected out to the Gulf and then across the states. Worked, you know, loved Grand Isle, absolutely had property down there. He really valued Grand Isle, so worked to get that paved. And I think the idea was, you know, you were turning trips that took 3, 4, 5 hours, you know, into less than an hour, right around an hour. If you can get it around an hour, people can afford that, and then your goods you can afford to move goods better in a day trip.
Your family had something to do with the tunnel.
Yeah, Arnold Autin. So Gibson, one of Gibson's sons, Arnold, my great great grandfather. Gibson was my great grandfather. So Arnold, you know, really the separation of West and East Houma, and was really the bridge that was there at the time was just stifling traffic, because the waterway traffic was moving. I mean, Houma was a oil and gas supporter through and through, and so the GIWW and the greater the Gulf Intercoastal Canal was really driving a lot of that work. And so he would go out there, and he would when the tunnel or when the bridge was up, he'd hand out flyers. He'd show stats, and he'd hand out flyers about the lost time. And so he was signing petitions. He was getting petitions signed. One of my great uncles, one of his sons, wrote a poem for the newspaper about the importance of getting a tunnel there. And so he was also a Chamber of Commerce president, much like his father. And so they were, I think he took some cues from his dad about the Houma Nav Canal, which had just opened, and said, hey, I think we can start to make this more interconnected. And so he was a big voice to get in the tunnel at the time, dug and really in service, cut down a lot of traffic, but kept the waterway traffic moving. So Now I know that's, again, we talk about aging infrastructure, right? And so we had these really big projects that were done 60, 70 years ago.
Thank you so much for joining us this week on Louisiana and Beyond.
Next week, we'll learn more about the military background of Colonel Scotty Autin. Hope to see you then.
Louisiana and Beyond has been brought to you in part by Edison Schwest Offshore, Bollinger Shipyards, Crosby Tugs LLC, Grand Isle Shipyard, Nichols State University, and Sea Level Construction.